Okay, it's time to talk Apple Vision Pro as I promised. Today was the day that Apple Vision Pro was released, and I went down to the Apple store when it opened this morning to take a look at it. And it's smaller than I thought, and it's lighter than I thought. Those are my first observations. I didn't realize I could demo it when I was there, and there wasn't. I thought there'd be a huge queue of people, and I wouldn't get the opportunity. So I hung around, and I managed to try it out. And I will tell you that I was completely blown away. I will admit spoken a lot about how excited I am about these new headsets. I've had mixed feelings about the Pro because it looks like goggles, and I've really been in my mind thinking, with when smart glasses come out, that's going to be really sort of the game changer. But I was wrong. I think the Apple Vision Pro is absolutely phenomenal. So I sat down with a guy, and he walked. Basically, we did the initial setup. So I put the goggles on. Actually, no. Let me start again. We use an app where I had to move my head around, and they took the Apple Pro back to the back room, and they fitted it for me. So they got it just right for my face. So when they brought it back out, I put it on. Very comfortable. We went through a process early of me basically configuring it with my eyes and hand gestures. Um, so let's start there before we talk about the experience. My expectations of what the Apple Vision Pro was going to be when I've seen videos is me doing funky things in the air in front of me. It's not like that. It actually tracks your iris exactly. Where you're looking is what you're acting upon. So when we were doing the setup, there were a group of dots around the screen. And I was trying to punch the dots initially, and the guy who was helping me said, just put your hands in your lap. There are three gestures you need to remember for the Apple Vision Pro. That is to select, that is to drag. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way. That is to drag with your fingers together, and then that is to zoom in and out. Just those three. So wonderful. So I saw the dots and I started clicking in front of my face. He said, "You don't need to do that. Just leave it on your lap." So I was doing the hand gesture with. Again, I don't know how's the camera seeing it. It must have been looking down at my hands, but I wasn't holding my hands in front of my face. I was literally looking at a dot, clicking, connecting my fingers like that, and it was selecting that dot. So we went through this setup process where I got used to the hand gestures. And by the way, it's a very comfortable. When I first put it on, it was a little bit awkward to get on my face, but once I got it on, it was very very comfortable. The sound is obviously by your ears, and I thought it would be like the strap would be sitting on my ears. It's actually above my ears, but the sound was amazing coming from it. Um, and very comfortable around the face. Like I said, it really was quite a comfortable experience for me. A little weird when I first put it on and I'm in the dark with these dots around me. But once we'd got the configuration done, then I was looking through and I could see the world around me. And then we kind of walked through some of the different things that were there. So there's a button on the top that you press. This is like the home screen button, and that's where you see the icons that make up the sort of the menu system. And so that was where we started. So you see the icons, you'll see, like Safari, and you'll see photos. So I got kind of familiar with looking at an icon, snapping my fingers together and selecting that icon. So the first one we did was the photos. So we looked at the photos, and a screen comes up, which is like on a monitor, and you can bring it closer to you, or you can move it away from you. Again, you look at something on the screen, and you can actually sort of bring it closer or further. It's just bloody amazing. So it's like in your face, and then it's further away as you need it. And then, so we worked with the photos, and I opened some photos and took a look at them, and it was just, it was amazing because it's right in front of your eyes. It's just such a different experience. And then I simply moved that screen over to one side, and it's just to the right of me. I open another one. I open Safari. We did some things like scrolling in Safari and that kind of thing, which was interesting. I don't know how you type in Safari. We obviously didn't get to that, but how do I open a different web page? Anyway, that was kind of interesting. Then I moved that to one side, so I had two screens by the side of me, and I opened another screen in front of me, and we looked at some other things. And then I cancelled a couple of the screens, so I had one in front of me, and I was still in the background looking at the store. And by turning the button on the top, you could actually bring in a panoramic view. So you could actually have the backdrop being sort of virtual reality, if you like. So you couldn't see ahead of you, you couldn't see anything else, but you had this window with this virtual reality screen in front of you, and you could just look to one side. It was a better panoramic view. So interacting with it was actually pretty easy. I picked it up super quickly, you know. So I wondered how complicated it was going to be. You know, it's a very different interface, but really quite easy. You know, where you're looking at, and these very simple three essentially hand gestures, finger gestures, were the things that operated it. So quick to learn, incredibly impressive. Didn't make me feel at all. I thought it was going to make me feel a bit weird, you know, a bit woozy or something, but none of that. Um, but I think the real power of it is what I'm about to tell you about. It's really in the entertainment world where I see its first impact. I was thinking, you know, where is it going to impact the real world? You know, the world of work, for example. And I'm obviously really interested in particularly in augmented reality and, you know, how we blend the digital world with the real world. But this is more of a new interface for interacting with having multiple screens up, easy ways to interact. But I think the entertainment side of it is the big deal. And frankly, I was swearing in the store with lots of people around me because I was so blown away. I wasn't meaning to, but it was so amazing what I was looking at. So we first started with, again, we went back to the imagery and the, I think it's the Apple, the iPhone Max 15 Pro or something like it. I know it's one of the versions of the latest version of the iPhone, which has got spatial video and spatial imagery on it, I believe. So the first thing that I pulled up was a 3D image, and it was of a family, you know, having a picnic. Actually, they're in their garden. Actually, it was a group of kids. I think there was a mum there, and it was amazing. It was in 3D as if you were just sitting there. I said to the guy, "Can I move around the back? You know, like in 3D, could I actually kind of see the back of the kids and not just walk around the kids almost with in the picture?" And he's like, "You really only get the front face of the 3D in imagery." But it was really quite astounding to actually be. You know, it's funny. I remember Polaroids. You know, you remember the Polaroids where you had to wait for the pictures to come back, and it was in 2D, and now we've got like 2D digital images. This is the new world of images. I mean, 3D images are just amazing. You just feel like you're there. So that was incredible. And then we moved to 3D video, which was I want to swear because it was friggin' amazing. This 3D video was just. You know, I was thinking about when we look at the kids, you know, obviously my kids are grown up now, they're the early 20s. So our kiddie pictures are still, actually lots of them are printed, and some of them we've got digitally, but we've got a bunch of printed old photo books. This is completely transformational. People now will take these pictures, these 3D videos, and, you know, in years to come, they'll sit down and they'll be in the scene. I mean, it's going to be sad. When I look at the pictures of my kids, it kind of makes me sad because, you know, I remember those wonderful days. You know, it's great when, you know, your kids are so young, but this is another level. I mean, it's just amazing to watch these 3D videos. It's like you're sitting there with them. I just couldn't believe how real it all was. You know, it was just phenomenal. So we then looked at some panoramic images, which were cool. And again, you can zoom into them, and they're all the way around you. So, you know, that was cool. And what you're zooming into is what you're looking at. You know, so there was a guy in the picture just to the left, and I was looking at him, and I did the zoom gesture for it, and it zoomed into that part of the picture. Really mind blowing. But I think probably the last piece was the one that surprised me in how just unbelievable it was. That there's this immersive option that, you know, if you do this yourself, if you go down to the Apple Store, if you bought it, there's an immersive experience there. So the first one I saw was a Super Mario. It's got a 3D movie, which wasn't immersive, but it was pretty cool to actually see. You know, I saw a short family video, and then we saw this kind of movie that was in 3D, which I don't know if you had it on your face for a long time, but it made you feel a bit sick. Because I remember watching 3D movies in the past, and it made you feel a bit queasy. Um, Avatar was one that I think I saw, and I was like, oh, that made me feel a bit queasy. But this didn't. It was only short, but it was pretty interesting. But then I went to the immersive one, and the immersive one was the thing that just totally totally blew me away. You literally. So I asked the guy, how do you build an immersive experience using the Vision Pro? And he said you have to buy a different lens for it. So I was like, okay, so there's a base model which is $3,400, and then you buy a different lens which is another, it fits on the front, which is another. I didn't ask him how much, but X amount of money, and then you can take these immersive videos that I was looking at, and I was just astounded. I mean, you're literally surrounded in this scene, and I watched a girl walking towards me on a tightrope. Um, you know, I felt like I was standing on the tightrope. And what else did I see? There was like a plane flying through a fjord. There were some kiddies playing soccer. Actually, the one that really, because I'm a big football fan, soccer fan, they had somebody was standing behind the goal for Messi's team, Inter Miami, and one of the guys shot. So you were sitting behind the goal with this camera, and the goalkeeper saved it. Another guy came in and scored. It was just unbelievable. I mean, I'm probably overusing that word unbelievable and staggering, but it was friggin' amazing. It was just like you were at the game. I can just imagine now. I mean, I live in America. I'm a Chelsea fan. Actually, I'm ashamed at the minute to say I'm a Chelsea fan, but regardless, to experience a Chelsea game like that, oh my gosh, I just can't. Just incredible, absolutely incredible. So I think my overall perspective on this is that the Apple Vision Pro is a complete game changer. I asked the guy, is this a VR headset? Is this an XR headset? Is this an AR headset? How do Apple talk about it? And they say it's a Vision Pro experience. So Apple are not even marketing it as an augmented reality, virtual reality, any of those things. They're just saying it's an Apple experience. So it it was something else. I encourage you to try it out. There are a couple of people next to me that bought two of them and walked out the door, and I was like, my gosh, those guys have just dropped $7,000, but they obviously were super impressed. And frankly, I'm not a big movie watcher or TV watcher, so that some of the things that I see as like the super valuable things are probably going to be less for me than it might be for other people. But I just look at the potential of it, of having these experiences and this new interface and this new way of interacting, which is, it's not going to replace the stuff that we're using, but it is a completely new experience for people. And I think it's, it kind of sets the stage for just unimaginable things for the future. I just wonder where they're going to take it to next. But it certainly was a groundbreaking day for me. And I'm someone, look, without the hair, who remembers coming to America in 91 and seeing the internet in 1992 and thinking, oh my gosh, the world's just changed. It took people a while to catch up with that. And I remember seeing the first iPhone and the first iPad and thinking the world's just changed again. And again, took people a little while to catch up and the technology had to move forward. We're in another one of those. And it's probably even bigger than that, because now we've got generative AI, which we can talk to the headsets and get them to, ask them to do things for us. And, we've got these new interfaces. We've got all this data. I mean, it just, all this technology is coming together. And I think that the Apple Vision Pro is going to collect some of this stuff in one place and give us a brand new, incredible set of new, I was going to say experiences. That's almost like, a Disneyland ride. It's not like that. I can see its utility. I can see what it could be used for, how it can enhance how and what we do. Not just for entertainment, but, just doing our work better, getting things done quicker, adding knowledge to our brains that we don't necessarily know. It can enhance what we already know. So I'm really, really excited about it. I would love to have one myself, but actually I probably wouldn't use it, just the entertainment side of it. I think the next model, the model after that, when there's a bit more utility, is going to be good. The guy did actually mention to me, he said there's 1 million apps, Vision Pro apps in their store at the minute. I was like, 1 million apps apparently that have been built. So I have no idea what that looks like, but I'd love to try some of those out. So anyway, I went on a bit too long there, but I wanted to give you a sense of my impressions of the Apple Vision Pro. And again, to overuse that word, it was astounding. Thanks for watching.